Most project managers manage costs. As a project business professional, you manage profit instead. Hello and welcome back to the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com. This is episode number 533. I'm Cornelius Fichtner. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to watch the video for this episode, you can do so at pm-podcast.com/533 or pm-podcast.com/YouTube. And starting today, our videos are also available on pm-podcast.com/Spotify. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you. I have managed both internal and external projects, and recently I have completed the Project Business Professional, the PBP certification. So in the next few minutes, I want to show you why that matters. We are going to take a look at what project business is, how it differs from regular project management, and why you should pay attention. And we are going to start with a quote that perfectly captures the core of this certification. Here it is. It is by Oliver Lehmann, and he says that cross-corporate projects are successful when contract parties are turned into project partners. Project business professionals, PBPs, know how to do that. It's a simple statement, but it completely reframes how we should think about leading external projects. To show you why this matters, here are the results from a survey that I did with the listeners of the Project Management Podcast, asking what type of projects do you lead? Do you lead customer projects? An external customer is paying for this project. As you can see there, the green bar, 48.77% of my listeners said, yes, that's what I do. Do you lead internal projects? So we meet the needs of a request that is inside our organizations. That's 45.07% who said, that's what I do. And then 6.16% said, it's something different, although I can't really figure out what that something different might be, but there you are. So we can clearly see that more people said, hey, you know what? I do external projects. A customer is paying for this. And just so you know, the Project Business Foundation has done similar annual surveys, and the result that they get is usually the same. The majority of people responding to these surveys say, yeah, we're doing external projects, which means we have an overlooked reality. The PMP, other project management training, they often don't cover this very common scenario that you are getting paid by a customer to develop a project. You also have legal exposure because cross-company projects, they bring contracts, liability, there's legal risk, right? And let's not forget the financial complexity here. Cash flows, payment terms, profitability, those are real concerns that you have to worry about as a project manager. It's also high stakes. These client projects, they carry a much greater business risk and a reputational risk than an internal project. And then also quite common in vendor-client projects, you have cross-border challenges, especially, of course, with international projects that cross the borders. Then, as a project manager, our role is evolving. You must manage both delivery and business success because, well, you're bringing in money. So the money you bring in, it has to be profitable, the project that you are delivering. And as a project manager, you have to understand the market relevance of your project. So your skills today are more aligned with the way that project management is taught today. So for internal, market relevance is not really part of that, which means we have a certification gap in the sense that the credentials today, the PMP, the CSM, the PMI-ACP, for example, they do not address this kind of project management. Or should I say, we used to have a certification gap, because as you can see here, this is my certificate of qualification. I am now a project business professional, and I am more attuned to those concerns. Let's do the briefest of overviews of the PBP. To recap, most project management certifications assume you work inside a single organization. They are not really intended for when your project is the product, when your project is the business. If you're not just delivering scope, but delivering profit, managing contracts, legal risk, financial exposure across multiple companies, that's where the PBP comes in. It's the only certification that addresses project business head-on, equipping you to lead when the project is the business. It's the only certification focused on managing outsourced, client-facing and cross-corporate projects as profit center. It is for project managers, contractors, clients, supervisors, business leaders in project-driven organizations, whether you are experienced or new to project business. And with your existing skill set as a basis, the PBP builds the skills to lead in high-risk commercial environments where contracts, cash flows, and partnerships define success. Here is why I decided to become a project business professional. First of all, I wanted to balance my credentials. The PMP, that helped me lead internal projects, but the PBP now completes the picture for external client-facing work. Then, I'm a trainer, so I want to teach and support others. I am also preparing to become an ACE, an approved training consultant and educator, to help others earn the certification so that I can teach this. And of course, I also want to use my platform here, the Project Management Podcast, to promote this certification. I believe in the value of the PBP, and I want to raise awareness through the podcast and professional work. So how do you become a PBP? Well, here is the boring slide that explains everything in bullet points. You register with a training partner, you attend a 2-day seminar, then you take the certification exam. It's open book, no time limit. I can tell you it was really quite simple to do this after the 2-day seminar. Once you pass, you earn your PBP, and that is for life. And if you need to retake the certification exam, then you can do so. Let's make this a little bit more interesting. Here it is on the timeline. You can see there the gray arrow on the far left. So you register with a training provider and you pay for the seminar. You receive a confirmation, then there is the 2-day trainer-led seminar, at the end of which there is a 1-hour exam. Took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes. I took my time. There's really no time limit there. And then you pass, you receive a confirmation to that, and then you also receive the certificate that you saw earlier from the Project Business Foundation. And after that, welcome to the club. You are a PBP for life. Both Marie Spark, a recent guest here on the program, and I attended the same seminar, and here are 3 things that she and I took away from this. One of my biggest takeaways was this mindset shift. Internal projects are cost centers, but in project business, the project is how your company earns the money, right? And that really changes everything, and the project becomes a profit center. Then the second item is there in project business. The project isn't just a delivery vehicle. It is a full-fledged business unit with cash flow, risk profitability, and legal exposures. And then Marie says that, well, it's missing from the PMBOK guide. As she pointed out during the seminar, the PMBOK guide barely scratches the surface of this particular world. Most of what external project managers face, contracts, partner dynamics, financial controls simply isn't covered in the PMBOK guide or the PMP training for that matter, and the PBP fills that gap. Here is how I see the value for you to also become a PBP. First of all, credibility. Earning the PBP gives you a lifetime credential that signals trusted, recognized expertise in project business. Then, visibility. You can use the PBP title and logo to boost your professional branding and stand out in competitive markets. As Oliver put it during the seminar, he says, the PMP, that makes you blend in, and the PBP, well, today, that makes you stand out. And then lastly, capability. The certification equips you with practical business side skills like managing contracts, cash flow, risks, that traditional project management training often overlooks. Would I, or rather would we recommend this? Well, both Marie and I agree. A resounding yes. So from my perspective, if your project is a profit center, you need this. You are running project business, you need to be PBP certified. And if you are a trainer, well, go ahead, expand your portfolio, add the PBP to your training offerings. And then as for Marie, she sees this from the project manager's perspective, and she says that she now sees the business side as front and center because so many more projects are done for an external client than for an internal client. So she absolutely recommends this if you are in this client-facing, this entrepreneurial role. From here, let's move on to a quick FAQ, starting with this here. How is the PBP different from the PMP or other project management certifications? Well, the PMP prepares you for internal project delivery. The PBP prepares you for business-driven, externally facing projects. In other words, you have an external project focus. There is a legal scope and financial scope you look at. This is contract-based delivery, not just internal agreements between departments. We also have multi-party dynamics playing in, like how do we get everyone to understand and work toward the project's mission and the end goal. And of course, you also have cross-company risk. So what if my subcontractor doesn't deliver? What is my responsibility as the prime contractor here? So you see, this is less about whether to do a project using waterfall or agile, and more about the intricacies of delivering a project that is supposed to make a profit. Our next question is, do I need legal or contract experience to take this? The short answer is no, you don't. The seminar is really designed to teach you those skills, even if you're coming from a classic project management background. Just don't expect to become a legal expert or a contract expert through this particular seminar or certification. Next, we want to address this situation here. Is this useful if I'm on the customer side and not the contractor side? And the answer here is yes, absolutely. Whether you are the buyer or the seller, the PBP helps you manage the entire business relationship. As you can see here on the right-hand side in these images, the left image, the simple project business, we have the customer there at the top, and we have a project manager here, and also for the contractor down here, we have a project manager, so there's project managers on both sides. And then if we go into multi-tier project businesses, each of these boxes is a project team with a project manager. So yes, no matter where you are, this is really important and useful, and the PBP covers all these perspectives, the customer needs to understand contracts and the financial flows as much as when you are on the vendor side. We are ending this FAQ segment with this question here. what is the real value of the PBP certification for my career? Well, it fills the knowledge gap that most project managers don't even know that they have. And that is the gap between traditional project management skills and the business reality of client-facing projects. If you're a project manager who operates across organizational boundaries, then this certification helps you gain the confidence in handling contracts, commercial terms, external risks. And if you've ever felt unprepared navigating legal conversations or managing financial exposure on a customer project, it also gives you the tools to lead with authority here. It's especially valuable if you want to stand out in industries where cross-company delivery is the norm. Because, like Oliver said, with the PMP you blend in, with the PBP you stand out. That's it for our overview of the Project Business Professional, the PBP. And if you have been a listener of the Project Management Podcast for some time, you know I always love to end here with a take action. There's a single action I want you to take. So, if you manage client-facing or outsourced project, the PBP, that is one certification that you shouldn't overlook. Therefore, visit pm-podcast.com/PBP to learn more about what it covers and how it can elevate your career. Do check it out and seriously consider signing up for an upcoming seminar to earn your PBP as well. Especially if you can get a seminar with Oliver Lehmann, because he is as brilliant live as his online persona on LinkedIn makes it seem. So visit pm-podcast.com/PBP. Thank you for watching. Visit pm-podcast.com/533 for show notes and transcripts. Our email address is info@pm-podcast.com. And finally, we have this meme here with a cheering Leonardo DiCaprio, who just completed his PBP certification. When the client brings up contract terms and you actually know what you're talking about. Until next time, everyone.